On a quiet night in
Sir,
Manhattan,
can we have
where
the
glass towers
leftovers?
reflected a city that never truly rested, a black Rolls-Royce Phantom idled outside one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. Rain fell, not heavily, but steadily. The kind that softened sound and blurred movement. Inside the car sat Ethan Cole. A billionaire. But not the kind people admired loudly. The kind people whispered about. He didn't check his phone. Didn't look out the window. He simply sat there, still. Like a man who had everything, and nothing that mattered. The driver turned slightly. "Sir, your reservation is ready." Ethan nodded once. That was all. No wasted words. No unnecessary motion. He stepped out. The doorman rushed forward, umbrella raised, but Ethan was already walking. Rain touched his suit. He didn't react. Inside, the restaurant was warm, golden, alive with quiet wealth. Crystal glasses. Soft piano. Controlled laughter. Ethan moved through it like he didn't belong there. Or maybe like he had been there too long. He sat alone. Always alone. A waiter approached. "Good evening, Mr. Cole." "The usual." Ethan gave a slight nod. Minutes passed. A full-course meal arrived, perfectly plated, untouched perfection. But Ethan didn't eat. Not immediately. He stared at the food like it was irrelevant. Like hunger was something he no longer understood. Then, the door opened. No one paid attention at first. But something shifted. A small girl stood at the entrance. No older than 11. Thin. Drenched. Holding a baby wrapped tightly against her chest. She didn't belong in that room. And she knew it. Her shoes left faint wet marks on polished marble. She hesitated. The baby stirred slightly. She adjusted him instinctively. Across the room. Ethan noticed her. The manager had already started walking toward her. But before he could reach her, the girl moved. She walked directly to Ethan. Each step careful. Measured. She stopped at his table. "Sir. I'm sorry to disturb you," Ethan looked up slowly. "I was just wondering, when you're done, could we have what's left?" Ethan Cole had been asked for money before. Thousands of times. But this was different. This was permission. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amara." "And him?" "Jonah." "How old?" 6 months. The manager stepped in. "Sir, I can have them escorted." Ethan raised a finger. Silence. "Sit," Ethan said. She hesitated. "Then Saturday, eat." She looked at him again. Then slowly began. Carefully. Measured. Ethan watched. And for the first time in years, he felt something unfamiliar. Recognition. Amara didn't look up while eating. Not because she was afraid. But because she had learned something most people never do: food can disappear if you look away. Every bite was careful. Measured. Controlled. Jonah stirred softly in her arms. Without thinking, she paused, adjusted the blanket, and gently rocked him. Then continued eating. That single movement told Ethan everything. This was not temporary hunger. This was survival. "Where are your parents?" Ethan asked. The question hung in the air. Amara didn't answer immediately. She swallowed first. Then another bite. Then finally, "I don't know." No emotion. No dramatics. Just truth. Ethan's eyes narrowed slightly. "And the baby?" "He's not mine." That got his attention. "A woman gave him to me, said she'd come back." "When?" Amara shook her head. "She didn't." Silence. This wasn't just a girl asking for leftovers anymore. This was something else. A crack in a world he thought he understood. The waiter returned with fresh food. A full meal. Hot. Steaming. Perfect. Amara froze. I didn't ask for this. I know, Ethan said. Then I can't take it. That surprised him. Why not? Her grip tightened slightly. Because if I take too much, they take it away. That line stayed. Ethan leaned back. And this time, he wasn't just observing. He was remembering. There was a time when Ethan Cole understood hunger. Not the kind that came from skipping meals. The kind that lived in your bones. The kind that taught you silence. Years ago, before the billions, he had been a boy outside places like this. Watching. Waiting. Learning when to ask. Learning when to disappear. He buried that version of himself. But now, it was back. Sitting across from him. What happens after you eat, he asked. We go back. Where? Under a bridge. No shame. Just fact. Ethan exhaled slowly. You're not going back there tonight. Her eyes snapped up. Yes, we are. You don't have to. And where would we go? He didn't answer immediately. Because for the first time in a long time, he didn't have control. The restaurant faded around them. People watched. Quietly. Curious. But this moment wasn't for them. Ethan stood. Slowly. Deliberately. He took off his coat and placed it gently over Jonah. Finish eating. She did. Carefully. Like always. When she was done, he spoke. We're leaving. Her body tensed. Where? Ethan paused. The answer to that question is going to change everything. Rain followed them outside. Not violently, but persistently. Ethan opened the car door. Get in. She hesitated. Where are we going? Somewhere you can sleep without watching the door. That was enough. She stepped in. Carefully. The door closed. And just like that, the world she knew faded behind her. But uncertainty remained. The gates opened before the car stopped. Silent. Automatic. The house stood large. Quiet. Too quiet. Inside, no life. No sound. No warmth. This is your house. Yes. Where is everyone? A pause. There is no one. That landed heavier than expected. Because for the first time, they were the same. Different worlds. Same emptiness. There's a room. Warm water. Clean clothes. She didn't move. Why? Because someone should have done it for me. Silence. Then she nodded. The next morning didn't feel real. Amara woke instantly. Survival doesn't turn off overnight. She checked Jonah first. Then the room. Everything felt temporary. Downstairs, Ethan was waiting. You didn't leave. I said I wouldn't. She hesitated. What happens now? He turned toward her. We figure out what should have happened a long time ago. But even he didn't fully understand what that meant. 3 days passed. Then the gate buzzed. Not normal. Forced. At the door stood 2 people. A woman and an officer. Amara froze. They're here for him. Mr. Cole, Child Protective Services. There it was. You're harboring a minor and an unidentified infant. They're not being harmed. That's not the point. Fear spread quietly. They'll take him. Ethan didn't flinch. No one is taking anyone. But this wasn't something he could control. Paperwork. Identity. Questions with no answers. Gaps everywhere. What does it take? Time. Evidence. Legal process. Time they didn't have. That night, Ethan moved. Calls. Lawyers. Systems. But money couldn't skip this. For the first time, he couldn't win instantly. You don't have to do this, Amara said. Yes, I do. Why? Because someone should have done it for me. Days turned into weeks. Then, a breakthrough. A hospital record. A nurse remembered. The woman who left Jonah had been dying. She didn't abandon him randomly. She chose Amara. Because she saw strength. That changed everything. It wasn't abandonment. It was trust. The system shifted. Slowly. Then came the final decision. This becomes your responsibility, the caseworker said. I know. This is a life. I know. Amara watched him carefully. Why are you staying? Because leaving is easier, and I'm not choosing easy. Months passed. The house changed. Not in structure, but in sound. Laughter. Movement. Life. Amara went to school. Seen. Not invisible. Jonah grew. Safe. Ethan stayed. Every day. One evening, she asked, "Why did you really help us?" He thought about it. Then answered, "Because you didn't ask for help." She frowned. That doesn't make sense. You asked for permission, not rescue. Silence. Then understanding. Sometimes, the world doesn't change with grand gestures. Sometimes, it changes with a simple question. Can we have what's left? And sometimes, the answer isn't about food. It's about responsibility. About staying. About choosing to care when it's inconvenient. Because anyone can give leftovers. But not everyone is willing to give their life. And that is the difference between kindness and commitment. If this story meant something to you, share it. Because someone out there is still asking quietly for a chance. And maybe you'll be the one who answers. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to share it with someone who needs hope. Leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and what this story meant to you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue sharing stories that remind us we are never alone.